Oh, no, 89. Come on, buddy. The DR-Z and the highway are not exactly friends. My personal DR-Z, years ago, I put 40,000 miles on it, got it over 50,000 in total with lots of highway use, and I avoided as much as I could. But Suzuki has made a new DR-Z, and it's still only a 5-speed and basically the same engine, but with fuel injection and new plastics. So could it actually be any better on the highway? Well, that's what we came here to find out as we are here on one of these giant Texas highways. There's an HEB here, there's a Buc-ee's just up there, and there's cars probably doing 90 miles an hour right now. So will this do any better? Let's go find out. But before we hit the road, let me tell you about this, the Insta360 X5. They are the sponsor of this video, filming in 8K so we can crop in and get our nice little 4K. This and the Ace Pro 2 are the cameras that I'm using daily. This is the camera you just saw me on recording the bit standing next to the bike. I had it in single lens mode using their wireless air mic. This is a super convenient setup because there's no wires. It just connects. Cool thing too is you can throw this microphone into your helmet. You can just drive audio directly into this. This is the camera that's going to give us those cool shots you're about to see out here on the highway that gives us that sort of floating lens thing, the chase vehicle without having a chase vehicle. It's all here, the invisible selfie stick. If you want to see more about that and some of the other really cool features and uses for this camera as a motorcyclist, be sure to check the video link in the description or annotation on the screen. So be sure to check them out. Big thanks to Insta360. Let's get on the highway. So why did the old DR-Z suck on the highway though? I think it comes down to two things: vibrations and just being out of the power band. Those vibrations were just obnoxious. You just felt like you were being mechanically mean to your DR-Z. You had no passing power. You were just flogging the thing open, and that's because single-cylinder engines don't tend to make a lot of high RPM power. Their sweet spot tends to be sort of mid RPMs, possibly even low RPMs. Now, for years, everyone's assumed the fix to that would be to put a 6-speed in it, right? Lower those RPMs down going down the highway. That would keep you in the meat of the power, and it would keep the vibrations down. People did a lot of things to try to mimic having that 6-speed. Put something crazy like a 16 front, 38 rear tooth sprocket. Makes the thing an absolute dog. It's not going to pop any wheelies, but hey, you've got the RPMs down. And if you really wanted to go extreme, you could pop the engine out, split the cases, spend about $500–600 to buy something called a Y ratio kit. But they're quite involved to put in. It's not just buying them too. You had to go in there and mill bits of the case out and mill the shift forks. If you're interested in seeing that, I'll put a link to a video where my buddy Dewey did that to one of his DR-Zs. He's done it to several actually, but he's got a good documentation on it if you just want to see what that looks like. The top things when you ask people how to improve the DR-Z wasn't new bodywork. A 450 would have been cool. Fuel injection was hot. But no, people wanted a 6-speed. And so when this new one comes out in 2025, and it's still a 5-speed, people were not so happy, especially considering the price. When you got bikes like the new KTM 390, which also comes in a dual sport supermoto trim, coming in at $6,000 or some change, and this is $2,000 higher, this left a lot of people scratching their heads. If you think the DR-Z costs too much money and you're not willing to spend that much, you can win this one. This is a giveaway motorcycle thanks to fanofthem.com/JakeTGS. Fan of Them is a veteran-owned company. Win or lose, you are helping support them and you're supporting me. No pressure, but if you are going to do that, be sure to hurry up and do it because it ends on this date on the screen. I can't remember right now as I'm saying it. Jump on over there and check it out. Not that it's as important to do this, but kind of biffed her there, didn't I? Just do it. Texas highways, we're already going 70, 75. I'm in 5th gear. Are we just out of power? I'm about that much throttle right now. Maybe quarter, holding 70. I'm already going to tell you that's an improvement right there. But I just want to show, this is what these Texas highways are like. I'm sitting here doing 75, 76 as we enter the highway, and I think that's the problem today, is that you have to have a vehicle. If you're going to sell a vehicle here in America, it's got to be able to go 76, 75 here in the slow lane, because that's what people do out here. And here we are doing it. What can I report? Well, it's not vibrating. It actually feels pretty good. This is the crazy thing about it. There's kind of a thing, if I start getting up to about 80 here, it gets a slight bit heavier, but this is the major improvement here. They have definitely balanced this thing different than the previous DR-Z. This is something I got talking to my good buddy Spicy 110 about. Good friend of mine, check out his channel. He said harmonic balances, not just 1 speed, 1 RPM, whatever, right? It varies. It has sort of sweet spots, I suppose you could say. And if you ever notice that, you ride certain bikes and there's certain just RPMs in places, they seem to be smooth, and other ones they seem to be incredibly vibraty at. And I think that's what they've done here. I think they've played with the DR-Z. Truck in the slow lane wants to go 80, so I guess we're gonna go 80. What does this thing do? Let's find out here real quick. Getting a lot of wind. It got up to 88 pretty easy, but that might be the wall right there. That almost feels electrically limited right there. That was interesting. I don't think they've actually lowered the RPMs. I've not currently been able to find the internal gearings for the new DR-Z. I've been trying to look up parts fishers to see if they're the same part numbers as the old ones. There's a graphic Suzuki has put out showing that they've changed them, but again, knowing what my buddy did to change the gear ratios in his, and that this basically uses the same cases, we don't know right now at the time of recording this. I had a CRF 300L recently for several years. That thing had a 6-speed, and everyone sort of just presumed that means it kept the RPMs lower than something like this DR-Z on the highway. But, you know, I ran it up on a Gear Commander. Check out gearcommander.com, really cool website. You can plug in all this stuff, it'll give you gear ratios. The new DR-Z is not in there, but comparing it to the old one, the old DR-Z was actually, I believe, slightly lower RPMs, going 60, 70 than the 300L. Just because it has a 6-speed doesn't mean it's got like some insane overdrive. But I found, checking different motorcycles, almost all the little 250s and 300s are running higher RPM than the old DR-Z. Don't get me wrong, there's no excuse. I'm not saying I don't want a 6-speed. I'm just saying I don't know that that actually is the thing that's going to help us here. But balancing this thing like they have, harmonically balancing it for higher RPM, may be the ticket. Only reason we're not even going 70, 75 right now is because there's a wide load up here in 2 lanes. They don't play around out here in Texas. And that's the thing too. You know, you look at when this bike was developed. The late 90s, the first model year of these old DR-Zs was the 2000s, right? People just went slower back then. The speed limits were lower, and it also just didn't feel as unusual to be on the highway and have a car in the slow lane going like 50, 55. I'm going 5 over in a construction zone now when people are passing me, as you can see. Can we get into this? Can we get into the mix? Passing power test. Yep. Look at that. Look at her just go. That's something else here with this. It's got more power than the old DR-Z. It's not a rocket ship, but it's actually not bad. In fact, I can tell you from being on the track with this thing recently in a video we have coming up, it's possibly, yeah, maybe faster than a DR-Z big bore stroker. Let's see now if we can get up to any higher speed. I feel like it just hits a wall. Yeah, look, see. Oh, no, 89. Feels electrically limited. And we do have fly-by-wire. I know we have cables here, but there's fly-by-wire on this thing. And I do know from tuners out there, we already know that this thing is not giving it wide open throttle when you're wide open. It's only in certain RPMs. It's definitely not all the way up to redline. There's more on the table with this thing, just with the stock motor and some tuning. But even with that, we have more power than the old DR-Z. And it, to me, for someone who owned a DR-Z, put lots of miles on the DR-Z, the power feels more linear. We definitely have more up top. I still think we're probably out of power band, but I mean, look right here. We're going 75. I'm just going to pin it. And watch, I'm sitting up, I'm now not even trying to hide in the wind. And we're gonna get up to that 88 again and just kind of hold there. Just holding highway speeds, look how minimal throttle I'm giving her. We are in the high power mode, which I've just left it in the whole time. I think we just ask more of our vehicles now than people used to back in the day. What were you expected to do with a little carbureted 400 dual sport? Most dual sports were air cooled. Electric start was a big deal in the early 2000s on one of these things. The case used for a bike like that would have been thought of as gonna ride it around town to your local trails, and you know, that was the only, that's all anybody would have ever thought to do with the old DR-Z. They never would have considered that the old DR-Z would have been spending a bunch of significant time doing highway riding. They just didn't expect people to be riding it at like 90% of its top speed for hours on end. Currently it says our miles per gallon is at 59 miles per gallon, and we just had this thing at the track, which is hilarious. But I know in here, this is our instant miles per gallon. There, with 267 miles per gallon. That's because I'm just completely off throttle. Let's see though, as we cruise along here at different speeds, if there's like a sweet spot. Seems like around 55, we're getting like 70, I'm gonna call it 75. Okay, I'm loading it up a little bit now to accelerate. We're gonna drop back down into the 30s for just a second. We get her up to trying to hold her fairly steady. So just a pinch over 70, we're holding just under 60 miles per gallon. That's pretty cool. Let's get it up to 80. Let's see what she does at 80. We're like in the 40s now going 80. I'd say somewhere around 60, 65 is probably your sweet spot for miles per gallon. This is a little naughty. It's a little naughty, but we're in the draft of this truck right here. I can totally feel it, especially if we get it like right like this. Oh yeah, never do this. Don't, I'm not going 70, getting 82 miles per gallon. Don't do what I'm doing. Don't do that. My old DR-Z had flat slide pumper on it, E-model cams, airbox, full exhaust. It would actually top its fifth gear out, which was I think 110. I have a whole video of me doing it, and I really would love to see one of these unrestricted. My 300L wasn't this good, and I put bike plus parts like 12 grand into that thing. This just has more power, more better, even with the 5-speed. So I guess the conclusion is, would we like to have a 6-speed? Sure, but is it going to be okay without one? I think it actually is, and I'm mad to say that because I'm honestly annoyed with Suzuki for not doing it. If there's any other questions you have, be sure to put them in the comments. If you want to chat with me with my actual voice sounds, jump onto my Discord, ask me all kinds of questions about the new DR-Z. In fact, we have a whole Q&A section going in there right now. And to get into that, you do need to join my Patreon. That's just $1 a month, and you get a lot of these videos. There's extended cuts. They come early access, ad-free, and it helps support me because YouTube certainly doesn't. The algorithm sees 2 wheels that goes, ah.
Don't forget to check the link in the description to get your Insta360 X5.